Development Program, which is UNDP. We are working towards strengthening MSMEs, and we are working towards giving opportunities to new entrepreneurs to explore different opportunities available to them to adopt new businesses, new technologies which are available for transfer. Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, which is a state of government body, has been funding various educational institutions for research and developing new scientific technologies. And the role of the chamber is to help these educational institutions to commercialize these technology, and also at the same time create more entrepreneurs, more independent people in the economy, so that you don't remain a job seeker but become a job giver. So with this, I would like to begin this session today. We have with us Dr. Arun Sapre. He's been associated with this project for a very long time. He has been kind of a godfather for this project. He has initiated this project many years ago, and the chamber is doing its best to support technology transfer. He is currently working as advisor to Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission. We have with us Mr. Anil Manikar. He is currently the member secretary of RGSTC. And we have with us our principal scientist, Mr. Dr. A.K. Balange. So we'll begin this session. I would like to invite Dr. Sapre to say a few words, an opening statement for this session. And after that, I would request Mr. Anil Manekar also to say a few words before we hand over the session to Mr. Balange. Dr. Balange. Yeah. So over to you, Dr. Sapre.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you, everybody. This is a very interesting opportunity for everybody. And Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission has been waiting for such interactions and then really take some of those innovations forward. Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission's primarily objective is to support innovative activities at research institutions, including universities and laboratories and colleges, to develop new technologies, to new methods, so that it could create some kind of a package of technology which could be taken up by the entrepreneurs to start a new business, some new income generation activity. This is good not only for the new entrepreneurs, but even the existing industries, entrepreneurs who would like to diversify, would like to expand their activities. I think these are some of the new opportunities being provided. Commission has been supporting projects at the institutions to develop these technologies, and we cover large number of disciplines. And one of the disciplines that we have covered, where substantial development has taken place, is the fishery and fishery processing. So not only the fisheries part, but the fish processing part. So both these activities are available, and then some of this know-how which is developed is ready for transfer. Now this we have been trying to take the technology at the field level to approach the end users of these technologies, so that the new activities could be started. It involves some investment, involves some financial support system, it involves marketing. So all those issues are supposed to be handled by the entrepreneurs, and we are trying to get help from the institution like Bharat Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Agriculture to really do some handholding here, where people could be provided the inputs which they perhaps are not getting adequately. So wherever there is a gap, I think we are supposed to help it out. And this is one of the exercises that has been taken up. This technology, but now today we are taken very specific technology which is developed by Dr. Balange at the Central Institute of Fisheries Education. And this is related to fish processing. And we feel that this is something which has matured and could be adopted quite easily by small entrepreneurs in the coastal areas. So this is some kind of an opportunity that's being provided. This information dissemination is being tried out with this webinar, and we expect that those who are participating would come forward, try to take this technology for actual utilization. The support system, wherever possible, will be provided by MCCI, but I think ultimately the entrepreneur has to take the initiative and then come forward. This MCCI is also helping us in mobilizing these entrepreneurs, because approaching these entrepreneurs for the institution, it is very difficult. Like say CIIP, it may be difficult to approach all this, but Maroda Chamber has a network through which the information is being provided to the entrepreneurs, and the mobilization is taking place there. So we are hopeful that this particular exercise started with one project specifically, because we would like to go now on a very specific technology basis. There is very generic type of technology transfer issues are there, but then we are now taking a very specific case where there is a potential and where that could be adopted. So I look forward to some of these new entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs coming forward to take up this new technology and take it further to have income generation. So ultimately, we have to create employment, self-employment. Unless people get some output, some income generated, I think people may not like to enter into it. But I think there is a potential here, and I think I welcome you all, and please see that you take this right opportunity. Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Sapre. Mr. Manekar, would you like to say a few words before we begin the session? You have to unmute yourself, Mr. Manekar.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Good morning and welcome all to this session. And as Dr. Sapre as well as Madam they have already given you a brief idea about the purpose of this webinar. I would just like to add a few words to those whatever they have already described. As you all know, Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission is a mandatory body of the government of Maharashtra, which is engaged in supporting scientific and technological research in the educational institutions, which has a direct application for society. And under this scheme of the government of Maharashtra, Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology has supported various research projects in various educational institutions. And accordingly, one such project has been developed by Dr. Dr. Amjad Balange. And we are here all today to listen to him and know what exactly has been done. But as Dr. Sapre has already said, our purpose is not just to stop at the level of developing something at the research institution level, not just in the laboratory. The idea is that whatever has been done by the researcher in the laboratory has to be taken to the actual user, the society. And unless we take it to the society and actual users are benefited out of that, I don't think our work is complete, our job is complete. Now, one common difficulty I think most of the time we encounter is the researcher in the educational institution is trained or is used to working in one kind of system. But when you need to take the work from the laboratory, from the table of the institution, from the lab to the actual society, it needs a lot of modification. It needs a lot of packaging, designing, technical inputs. Everything is involved in that. And that is not always available with the same researcher or the research institution. So I think here is the main role of the consultants or the technical experts. I'm sure with your all support and cooperation, this purpose will be served effectively of taking the technology developed in the lab, of taking it to the common people. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anil Manekar. With this, I think we will begin the session. A few instructions to all the participants. Once Dr. Balange finishes his presentation on the technology, You all would be given 10 minutes to ask questions. You all are requested to keep yourselves on mute while the session is on. And when you ask questions, please unmute yourself and mute yourself again once you finish asking the questions. With this, a warm welcome to all of you. Wish you all a very good morning. I would briefly introduce Dr. Balange to you. Dr. Balange is a senior scientist at Harvest and Post-Harvest Division of Central Institute of Fisheries Education in Mumbai. He has been instrumental in setting up the surimi processing plant of 50-ton capacity at Patalganga, Panvel, Raigad district. He has worked in various capacities as a production manager, quality control officer in various organizations and fish processing plants. And he has done various research projects, which I'm not detailing because of in the interest of time. And also he is an ardent researcher. He has published several research papers, reports, and abstracts in international journals. Today's presentation is on value-added fish products. If you all want him to switch languages, he'll be giving the presentation in English. कोणाला वाटलं मराठीमध्ये बोलायला पाहिजे, so please put it in the chat box. We can have a bilingual kind of interaction. With this, I welcome Dr. Balange. Thank you for coming, Dr. Balange, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Manjari Madam, for introducing me. So, respected Dr. Sapre sir, Dr. Manekar sir from Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology, and Manjari Madam from Maratha Chamber of Commerce, and all the participants. So, I hope it's okay if I will speak in English, because I don't see anything in chat box. So, I think they are comfortable with English, so I will go on. If still there is some problem, then they can talk to me, like if they are comfortable or not. No issue with that. So it's okay, sir, if I will continue in English. Okay, fine. So good morning all. I will share my presentation now. So can you see it? Okay, fine. So, as Madam told that today I am going to talk on value-added fish products. So, this concept of value addition, I am sure everyone are aware about it. And as far as fish is concerned, that is also, I am sure everyone knows what is fish. But still, I believe that there are some facts which I think many of you might not be aware about. So before we directly jump on the main topic, value-added fish products, I would like to highlight the importance of fish in our Indian economy and why fish is giving so much importance today. So before that, like Madam has mentioned, I am from one university, that is Central Institute of Fisheries Education. Actually, our mandate, our university is basically, we have two mandates, important mandate. One is education, and we are offering only higher education, that is PhD and masters in various disciplines of fish. So we have around 11 disciplines in which we are offering the master's and PhD degree. So during the research, as Manekar sir correctly mentioned, we mostly see that our research should be need-based. That is, whatever the outcome from the results of the research we get, that should have some applicability to the society. So this kind of need-based research we are doing through the students as well as through externally funded project. Today I am thankful here that from Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology for disseminating the technologies that we have. Now the high time has come that whatever the research that we are developing in the labs, that should come out in the form of technologies, a full package of practices, so that that can be used by the stakeholders or those who need it. And like that, our research will be get the proper attention, and also we will get the credit, and also we will get the proper revenue from the outcome of such results. So this is in brief about my institute and what we are doing in the institute. So I will start with the fish here. Okay, as I mentioned, fish plays. Yeah, hello. Sorry, I got disconnected. Okay, so this fish, it plays a very important role in Indian economy, as you know that almost 40% of the global production that includes mostly the fish. That is the most internationally traded commodity nowadays, as against only 10% for the meat. And along with the other products, that agriculture products, fish is one of the major commodity. We have been exporting our fish to more than 100 countries all over the world. So what happens due to this export? We are earning almost 47,000 crore of foreign exchange due to export of this fish from India. And this is the last year's figure. And the recent figure, it has already crossed the 50,000 crore mark. So these figures, it has come even in a difficult situation like COVID. I will tell you, yesterday itself, we had a talk wherein we have invited a person from Export Inspection Agency, and he was very happy to say that this quarter's export is in fact more than last year's, same period what we have exported. So this is like in a challenging time, I think this is an opportunity. And if you see the fresh fish sale in India itself, it has increased tremendously. So people, they are preferring the fish which is hygienically processed, cut, packed and delivered at home. So online fish sale business is now doing very well in the present situation. So this is in simple language, I hope you understood. We have been exporting almost more than 50,000 crore worth of seafood from India. So why fish? Fish has got such an importance. We say that fish is highly nutritious, and it is proved by several researchers. The reason why fish is highly nutritious, because it is a very good source of easily digestible and cheap protein. I will come to this cheap protein concept later on, but then the protein which is present in fish is very good quality, as it contains all the essential amino acids. I'm not going in deep, but everyone knows what protein is and what is the importance of protein in our diet. So the fish contains a very good quality protein, and you all know that protein, it is made up of amino acid, and most of the essential amino acids are present in the fish protein. So this is a major advantage of fish being a nutritious commodity. Then another thing, it also contains some useful minerals and vitamins, particularly the fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E and K. And you all know, doctor also recommend to eat the fish every day so that you can keep the heart disease away, because it contains a very important component, that is omega-3 fatty acids. So this polyunsaturated fatty acid in the form of omega-3 fatty acid like EPA and DHA, they are basically responsible for controlling the cholesterol production in the body, and thus avoiding the risk of heart diseases. So these are very, very important and crucial points when we are going to talk about the value addition of fish, because unless and until we don't highlight how fish is important for our health, I think it is difficult to convince the consumer to eat the fish. I am coming to the per capita consumption of fish in the next slides, but here these are very simple points that are important. And in the beginning, I think you all should know, maybe some of you might be aware of this, but for those who are not much aware, I will tell you that this is a documented fact that fish is good for health. Okay, it is also like, if, simple example I can give you. If you boil the piece of fish and piece of any meat like chicken or mutton, and if you give it to even old age people, then you can make out yourself. Fish muscle is very soft, easy to chew and also digest. On the contrary, the another animal meat product, they are very hard and tough, and also it is little bit compared to fish, it is difficult to digest. So this is a very simple example I have given to you. The main reason for that is fish contains very less percentage of connective tissue protein, stroma protein. Like terrestrial animal, they have to walk and run, so they have to stand on the land. So their body structure, including us, it is very complex as compared to fish which just float on in the water. So that is the major difference. I hope now you understand the importance of fish in human diet. So we will move forward now. Now we will talk about the fish production in India. This in brief I am talking, so that you can understand how fish is important. So if you see the production of last year, we have reached to the level of almost 13.7 million metric tons, last year's total fish production. And if you see the contribution from the inland, that is from the sweetwater side, inland sector, it is almost double than the marine sector. So from inland sector you are getting 65 to 70%, and marine sector you are getting 30 to 35%. So these figures and this present scenario, if you can go through some of the literatures, some 20-25 years back, you will see the situation was exactly reversed. We were getting more from marine sector than inland. So why this change has taken place in the last 25-30 years? It's because of, there are several factors, but of course overexploitation, pollution, and this global warming. These are some of the issues which has resulted in drastic decline of the marine catch. And why the inland sector has shown such a tremendous growth is because of the fish farming. Aquaculture sector has developed a lot in India now. So if you see, we are second in the world in aquaculture production after China. So that is our achievement, and that's why our production from inland sector is increasing. So among this total fish produced in India, almost 90% is being utilized in fresh form. Okay, fresh means either from marine or from inland sector. Immediately after harvesting, it will be chilled and it will be sell in the domestic market in a fresh form. Processed form, when you freeze the fish or intervene with another processing methods like canning or all, that is coming in the processing form, processed form of fish. This kind of fish is only 10%, and whatever we are exporting is only the 10% of our total produce. Remaining almost 89-90% we are utilizing as a fresh fish in the domestic market. So among the 10% of this which we are exporting, almost 65% is contributed by shrimp itself, and that too mostly farm shrimps. Okay, so major earning is from the export of shrimp rather than fish. So this is the status of the fish produced in India. So now I will come here. I mean, why we should go for value addition. Value addition is successful only when you take into consideration the low cost fish. So we can categorize our fish produced into two categories. One is high cost fish, as you all know, like pomfret, spearfish, or salmon, Indian salmon, even shrimp, lobster, crabs. This comes in a high value category fish, because such fishes, they already have established market. So you can go for value addition from this fish also, but the challenge will be, the cost. this fish already it is fetching a very high price in the market, and again if you are adding value to that, then the cost of final product will be much more. So normally we go for value addition only with the fish which is fetching the low price in the market. Like some fish you must be knowing, like when we talk about marine side, pink perch, rani masa jala आपण म्हणतो, पिंक पर्च इज देअर, देन कोकर, ढोमा, ढोमा आहे, रिबन फिश बघा ज्याला म्हणतो. अशी काही मासे आहेत की ज्यांना बाजारात कमी किंमत मिळते, पण if you see the nutritional value of the high cost as well as low value fish, there is no much difference. It is almost the same. In fact, in some of the low cost fishes, the nutritional value you will find more, like as I say, omega-3 fatty acids. I forgot one more fish, sardine. If you take it, for example, it's a fatty fish and it is a low cost fish. It contains a very high amount of this health beneficial PUFAs. So from the nutritional point of view, no difference. So you are utilizing such low value fish and you are intervening with simple processes so that you can change the final form of the product, and this is nothing but value addition. So I will come to the different types of value added product and how you can add value in the next slides. So here, before going to that, this is very important because we should know the per capita consumption of this fish. I mean, how the people they are preferring, whether they prefer more fish or some other products. One survey is done and it says that in India almost 35 to 40% people they eat fish. Fish eating population is almost 35 to 40%. Okay, so talking about the per capita consumption, at present we have 9.8 kg of per capita consumption, which is very less as recommended by World Health Organization also. They recommend that at least 13 kg fish per capita consumption should be there. So we have a great scope here to increase the per capita consumption in India of fish particularly. This is a simple figure. You can see here 3 different colors are there: light gray, then medium gray and dark gray. So light gray shows all the countries which has per capita fish consumption less than 10 kg, and the medium gray it shows 10 to 20 kg of per capita consumption, and the dark gray it is showing more than 20 kg. So there are some countries which are developed, so there the per capita consumption is more than 20. But if you see India here, as I mentioned, the per capita consumption is less. It is less than 10 kg. So that is a challenge. Now, why it is like that? Why people are not preferring to eat the fish? 35% they are preferring, but why not remaining? Maybe we can increase another 25-30% more. So there are some reasons that has come across during the research and other like survey type of works, that there are some barriers in consuming the fish. First thing is like if you go into the market, you have to go to the market to purchase the fish. You know the conditions of fish markets here, like it's in bad shape. Not all the markets, of course, but most of the markets, they are in an open area and it smells like anything. So there you have to go buy the fish, then you have to cut the fish, remove the intestine and then head part, and also cleaning is becoming like little bit time consuming. Then another problem is like some of the fishes, they carry these bones. The body composition, if you see most of the freshwater fishes, they are having these bones, and especially the pin bones, which are very difficult to remove while cutting. And so most of the marine fish, if you see, they are not having this problem. But of course, this problem will be there. Like we get afraid of these spines or small bones that are present in the fish muscle. So this is another important hurdle in consuming the fish. I already mentioned the poor hygienic standards in the fish market, and if the fish is not fresh, if it is contaminated with pathogens, then it leads to some kind of serious health disorders also. So these are some of the problems which deter the consumers from eating the fish. So elevation of this problem is also coming like or is becoming a part of value addition. So here you can see, I have shown the four pictures here, and these we will consider it as our raw material. This first picture is of oyster, another is mussels, both are bivalves, and this is shrimp, okay, shellfish, and this is finfish. So here, as I said, if you remove this shell part and extract the meat part alone from all these four raw material, so that makes your product. So that is nothing but value addition. You are intervening in a way that you are making it easy for consumer, like you are giving them a product which is ready to prepare. Okay, so that is also called as a value addition. So anything like changing the form of original raw material by means of simple or advanced processing, so that the consumer acceptance can increase in the market, that is called as value addition. So why it is required? Why value addition is a need of hour? Because it leads to better income. It also leads to improved processing utilization, prevents the post-harvest losses, and it can keep the pace with the consumer needs. Nowadays, consumers, they hardly get a time, and they prefer ready-to-eat form of food products, not only fish but other products. Also, if you see in the market nowadays, you will see many ready-to-eat convenient products are coming into the market. And of course, with the different varieties that we can give to the consumer, there is always acceptability for that. You can't give the same product to consumer every day. So these are some of the benefits for the value addition. Now I will talk about what kind of products we have developed in our. Yeah, hello. Yeah, so I will talk about the type of products that we have developed in our laboratory. We have standardized the recipe of these products. We have tried it, we have tested it, even we have conducted the acceptability trials for these products, and we found there is very good acceptability for these products. We have also done the storage study and nutritional components for these products. So I can say that whatever products I am showing now, we have the complete package of practice for these technologies. So first product is fish cutlet. You all know that cutlets, like normally that cutlets what we found in the hotels, restaurant, that are made from other starch raw material like potato, and they will add some more ingredients into that, and you will get the fish, normal cutlet. But what we have done in fish cutlet, we have used the various combination of potato and fish mince. Now here, if you want to make any kind of value added product, first thing what you have to do is extract the mince from the fish. I am coming to that part in the coming slides. How can we extract the mince from the fish? So this extraction of mince becomes very important. First, you should have fish with you, low cost fish. Then you have to extract only the mince from the fish, because we don't want its head, tail, fin or bones inside the fish. So we want only the mince. So from that mince, you can make variety of value added product. So here, as I said, we have tried the various combination of fish mince to the potato and another ingredients. Say we tried some 4-5 combinations. Then we prepared those products. Then we subjected it to the sensory panel. That sensory panel is a trained one. It is made up of some 20 people. So it's a big science. Sensory science is itself is a big science. So we have taken a feedback from them. they have asked to make some changes. We did that, and finally we have standardized the recipe for fish cutlet. So same thing, chakli, it's a very common product in Maharashtra, Goa, and some of the southern states. So chakli, we made it during Deepavali and other festivals. And basically, again, it is a starch-based product. So in this case also, we have tried to replace the starch with the fish meals so that it will give the typical fish flavor to the product, and also it enriched the nutritional value of chakli because we are replacing with good quality fish protein in the chakli. So this product with its standardized recipe, its nutritional composition and storage stability, we have the protocol for that. So this is another product we have developed. And fish vada, vada is a very common product in Maharashtra and especially in Mumbai. So same thing we have done here. We have replaced the potato again with the fish meals. We have made some changes. We have seen that due to the addition of fish meals, its consistency should not change, and we could able to come out with a good product in the form of fish vada. And the fourth one, if you can see here, it's a fish sandwich spread. Okay. In fact, it is a ready to eat product. Like, we have several canned product in the market. Okay. So it is the same. It is the thermally processed product, but not in the can, in the retort pouches. So the beauty of such product is it is ready to eat. You have to just keep the packet in a boiling water for 10 minutes, cut open, and then either you can spread on the bread, or you can even eat it with the rice and chapati. So this product, and another beauty of this product is it can be stored at room temperature. Any fish, when we say fish, then the storage, especially the chilled storage, or it has to be always at low temperature because it is highly perishable. But with the thermal processing, it becomes easy to store it at room temperature. So this is another product we have developed. Then fish papad. This is also coming in a big way, particularly in our area, Andheri. We have trained many fishermen community and women self-help group in making of this fish papad. Just like the other papads are available in the market, this papad can also be made available by replacing the fish meals with another starchy ingredients. And the next product what you are seeing is fish sausages. Actually, this sausage, you can see some sausages are white in color and some are this slightly pinkish yellowish in color. So the major difference between these two sausages, most of you might be knowing, or those who are not knowing, let me tell you, sausages can be made from even chicken meat, minced chicken meat, or even goat meat. These sausages can be made, but sausages from fish is not that popular in India, and you rarely find this product in the market. But in another developed country, this is a very common product. Okay, and for making sausage, you need surimi. So as Manjari madam told in the beginning itself that I used to work in a surimi industry. So surimi is not same like surumai. Surumai ज्याला आपण म्हणतो ते आपलं सियर फिश त्याचं नाव आहे. पण सुरिमी जे आहे, this is a Japanese term for washed fish meals. We have to extract the meals and then we have to wash the meals for 3 times with chilled water. Then we have to again refine it through a refiner so that all the small particles, even particles size of like a needle point, that can also be removed, and at the end you will get a pure white odorless paste like product that is called as surimi. So these sausages are made from surimi, but mostly these sausages that are prepared in developed countries, they are bland in taste. But in India, what in our laboratory, what we have done, we have made the sausages same like from surimi, but the acceptance was very less because our people, they prefer the spicy product. So we have formulated a spice mix. We have incorporated that spice mix into mince, directly into mince. or even if a single washing is sufficient for making the sausages. And we have developed this, you can see another color of sausages that has got a very good acceptability. And some of the companies now, they have taken our product. They are also doing the acceptability trials in their own shelf. So we are looking forward for this technology also. If any one of you are interested, you can come to us. We have a complete package of practice for this technology. Like pickle is another very popular product in Maharashtra, even in India itself. So normally we make pickle from mango, lemon. So here we have tried to prepare it from the prawns and fish meals, and we have succeeded in a big way. Many people in Mumbai, they have started their own business. They are making the pickle and selling not only here, but some of one unit in Vasai side, they have started exporting it to even UAE and some other Asian countries also. So it has got a very good market. We have the complete protocol for making this pickle. Then shave is another common snacks product that all you know. That also we can prepare from fish meals. So with all this developed product and with the support of Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, like we formulated the project to take this technology to the field, and we have conducted several training program and demonstration. We have covered almost 5 districts of our coastal districts of Maharashtra, starting from Mumbai, Thane, Palghar, Raigad, Sindhudurg, Ratnagiri. We have done the demonstration and we have seen the acceptability. So we have found that the products have got a very good acceptability, and we have trained almost 116 number of women self-help group during this entire process. So as I earlier I was talking to suppressor also. So as a result of this, uh, because of this continuous training and all, some of the entrepreneurs, I don't say that we have done a very huge or some kind of miracle in this, but of course, some of the people, they have come forward, they have started their own business from home first. Some of them have now upscaled, they are doing it in a proper way. But still, I think there is a need to do more so that this product can be reached to more number of consumers. So at present, we have people from Warsaw, Kafred, Arnala, Mahim, Palghar, Juhu, and Vasai who are involved into this business. They are doing from home, but they are still continuing with this business and they are doing well. So this is Mr. Moreshwar Vaiti from Arnala. He is with the help of their Fishermen Cooperative Society and the Women Self-Help Group. They are doing this fish product sale. Then this is Mr. Kohli from Vasai. They have also started the big business and they are doing well. So this is one group from Warsaw itself. They are very near to us and they keep coming, and they are also doing well. They are making these products and selling into the market. So these are some of the success stories that I have told you. And now coming to the technical part that I mentioned earlier also, mince based product, when we say, then the most important part is to extract the mince from the fish. How we can do this? Because it's a tedious job. If you manually, even if you imagine, you take a fish, you cut it, like you are removing the head, you are removing the intestine, then you have to remove the skin, bone, and finally extract only the mince from the fish. So doing it manually is a little bit tedious job. So we have one machine that I will explain you. But this fish mince that you can also sell in the form of keema. Okay, once you extract the mince, and if you pack it nicely in a different packages, right from 500 gram to even 10 kg slabs, and you can freeze it and you can sell. So this kind of practice now already started in the southern part of India. If you see in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, they are already doing it, because just like another keema, this fish meals is also like very handy for the women in kitchen. I mean, they don't have to clean everything, so they can make different kind of products from the fish meals. So maybe this concept will take some time to develop, but it has started in the southern part. You can also do it. So the next part is to make the product. If you don't want to make the product, simply you can extract the meals and sell it as a raw material, like a ready to prepare raw material. So here, this is a machine. That's what I am talking about. So this machine is very handy when you have to separate the meals from the fish. So this is a schematic picture here. You see, you have to remove the head. Just you remove the head part, and the remaining part you have to just put it into this fish mincer here. It has got one drum and belt. So this fish will be pressed in between the drum and belt, and only the mince part will be extracted into this drum, and the waste part in the form of skin, bone, and other things will be released from the other end. So this waste also you can utilize for making various kind of byproducts. From this waste, even if you simply dry it, grind it into powder, you can make a very good quality fish meal, which is useful in a feed companies like either poultry or fish feed. They have got a very good application of this fish meal. So even this waste can be utilized. So this means separated here you can collect and use for making different types of products, as I mentioned previously. So here you might be having a question, if we don't have this fish mincer or deboning machine, what we can do? So the simplest way is to boil the fish. You have to cook the fish, in a boiled water just for 10 minutes. You cook it, allow it to cool, and then you have to separate the mince. It will be easy to separate the mince from the cooked fish. So that is the only way how you can manually remove the fish mince. And it is being practiced even in Calcutta. There is their department, fisheries department. They have started their own fish product unit. So that is called Ben Fish. If you Google Ben Fish Kolkata, you will see that. I have seen their factory, and they also don't have this deboning machine. So what they are doing in big kadai, they are taking the fish, cutting into small part and boiling it and removing the meat. That removed meat you can give a single wash if required, or if not, you can simply just press it and then pack it in a polythene bags like 500 gram, 1 kg, and you can keep it in at minus 18 degrees centigrade. And that meat you can use in making the different types of products. So that is the simplest way of removing the mince from the fish. And you can make different types of products like as I mentioned here. And the surmi, of course, I told you what is surmi. It is a washed fish mince. Again, we have almost 15 to 17 surmi industries in India. And in Maharashtra itself, you can see in Ratnagiri, we have 2 surmi processing plants. In Mumbai itself, we have 2 surmi processing plants. So 4 surmi plants are located in Maharashtra itself. So if you want to get rid of all those things, like, you can directly buy this surmi from these factories and you can make your products. So that is another simple way that I can suggest. So this I already mentioned. And the price of this surmi is very reasonable. If you see, the price of surmi is based on the grades of surmi. We don't need a very elastic, highly gelled surmi. Low grade surmi you can get around 150 rupees per kg. So 1 kg surmi, that is, you can make the thumb rule of any value added product. You use 50% mince and remaining 50% will be another ingredient. So like when you are saying that you have prepared fish 1 kg fish product, so that in that actually your fish mince is only 50%. So this is how you are adding value. Okay, so with a 50% you are getting yield of 100%. So that is the beauty of this value addition. So these are some of the products which are being prepared in the international markets from Surmi. That's why Surmi has got such a demand. Lookalike product they make. We are exporting only raw surmi from India, and in the foreign countries they are making the final product. Like, this is a shrimp analog. This is not actually shrimp. It is a lookalike analog or imitation products, like how we make imitation jewelries. That is not exactly like pure gold jewelry, but it appears like it is made up of gold. In the same way, this is a shrimp product only, but made from surmi. That is called analog product. If you eat such products, you cannot differentiate you are eating the shrimp or surmi. Such is the beauty, because they are adding everything into that, right from the color to the essence of that shrimp. Even lobster, you see here, they are making lobster analog or a crab claws. So such kind of products are prepared from surmi. So that is a highly cost, the huge cost is involved in making surmi plants and all. So there are some other products like coated products. Even your cutlet, as I shown in the previous slides, that is a coated product. Vada, it's a coated product, braided and battered product. So such kind of products we can prepare from the shrimp or even from fish fillet, and this product can be brought to the market in the form of like a final value added product. So this is how you do braiding and battering mechanically. So you have to first cut the fish, that is called portioning. Then you have to do the pre-dusting with the breadcrumbs. Fine powder of breadcrumbs is used as pre-dust. This is important because when you go for battering, this pre-dusting will help in adhering the batter properly on the fish surface, and then you go for braiding, that is mixing in the breadcrumbs. So finally you flash fry it, go for freezing, packaging, and you can store it at minus 20 degrees centigrade. And this product is being exported. Now I can tell you that in Mumbai itself there is one processing plant, a four-star processing company. So they are making this product as per the Indian palate, and they have already brought this product into the market. So we don't have to go for that high investment plants and all, but on our in kitchen itself you can do this kind of coated products. So these are some of the examples of coated products. So we have also prepared product like kurkure. We have prepared fish munch. So this product, we could able to replace the starch, by 20%. So that is the biggest achievement. When you add the fish protein, there are chances that it may lose its crispiness, because the proteins are the structures and structural complexity of the proteins that makes it hard. So maximum we could able to incorporate 20%. That is also a big achievement. But we have got this product that is called fish munch, and not only we have incorporated fish powder, but we also enriched with omega-3 fatty acids. So this product is, just for your knowledge, in 2012 itself, we have sold this technology to one of the company in Mumbai. So likewise, if you are interested, you can come forward. We have like series of technologies I have shown to you that we can transfer. So this is how it looks. This is a retort machine. As I mentioned, this is thermal processing, where we are heating the product at very high temperature, 121.1 degrees centigrade, but for very short time. Okay. This is also called as HTST process, high temperature, short time. So what happened at such a high temperature, everything will be destroyed. Not only bacteria, but its spores also can be destroyed. These bacterial spores are very dangerous due to boiling or other process frying. Also, it's difficult to get rid of these spores. But this thermal processing, it ensures the complete removal of all the microorganisms, including spores. So it is like a sterile food. and such products you can keep it at room temperature, and these products are ready to eat products. As I mentioned, like this packet, you open fish sandwich or keema, you just open it, you just keep the packet in boiled water for 10 minutes, open it and eat it with either bread or chapati or rice. So this machine, it's little costly. This is again a laboratory scale machine. This is a laboratory scale machine, but still with this machine also, in one batch you can process at least 70 to 80 pouches. Okay, so if you, one batch is for 2 hours, so if you run it for 8 hours, you can calculate that much will be the capacity per day. You can make that pouches. I mean, that is also good, I mean, to start with, definitely. But then again, 15 lakhs, yeah, that is also a big cost for the startups. So this is one machinery we have. Then spray dryer we are having, so we can encapsulate some sensitive nutrients, like we have done it. We have fortified the cookies with some fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids. So this is also available with us. So these are some of the examples that I have shown you for the value-added fish products. So the most important part is economics. Now, everyone thinks like, if I have to start a business, how much should I invest into the business? So this economics that I have developed is from our personal experiences. I can't say that this is exactly the way it has to be presented when you go for taking the loan. Of course, there is a need for refinement, and we need to involve some consultant who are good into this economics and all. So here I have shown this simple economics. First, you should see I have taken the 7 products here: prawn pickle, fish chakli, shev papad, fish wafers, and zawla wafers. Okay, so these 7 products, the target is that you have to prepare 1 kg products of these, I mean 7 items. Okay, so normally what we do, we sell prawn pickle or any other product with a quantity of 100 gram in 1 pouch. So if you make one product, 1 kg product of prawn pickle, that means you are making 10 packets of 100 gram each. So like that, you have 7 varieties. That means 70 packages you have to make. So this is the economics for these 7 varieties, with the condition that you should be able to prepare at least 70 packages per day and sell it into the market. So what you need for this? Capital cost, like, we need a place where we can do all the processing part, like removing the fish head and all, cleaning and extracting the meals. So for that you need a shade, or if you have a small room of around 500 square feet in the beginning, that is also okay. So I have put just 1 lakh rupees in the beginnings. If you don't have it, you can rent it. And I have just, this is a minimal cost I have put here. If you don't have anything, you can start from the kitchen also. Only issue is, while cutting the fish and all that, at least for that part, you need to have a facility where you can cut the fish, then separate the waste and take the meals. So other part, like, you need gas cylinder, some small utensils, 1 table if it is there is fine. Then you need a sealing machine, then weighing balance to weigh the ingredients, refrigerator, it is required to store your ingredients, then a food processor, and deep freezer is very important. A deep freezer with a 40 kg capacity is enough to start with one deep freezer. You can extract the meat. Let me tell you, if you want to have 1 kg of pure fish meals, then you need to have at least 2 kg of fish, okay, because the 50% goes as a waste. So if you want 1 kg fish meals, you need to have 2 kg of raw material. So you have a capacity of 40 kg deep freezer, wherein you can store 40 kg means, that means you can handle 80 to 100 kg of cold fish per day. So when the quantity of your raw material increases, then its cost also decreases. Okay, so like that, deep freezer is required. So all this, put it together, equipment and shed, it will be costing you 1,95,000. You remove the cost of shed also, you will be ending up with only 95,600. I mean, you can say 1 lakh roughly. So this is the cost required for the equipments. Then recurring cost, of course, I have mentioned all these, like fish, low cost fish. I told you we are making almost from fish we are making 5 products. Okay, so you need to have 2.5 kg of meals, so you can make 5 kg. As I said, thumb rule, half the quantity, the whole product will be of 1 kg. So if you are making 5 kg, then you should have at least 5 to 6 kg whole fish, that costs 680. So I have mentioned here the recurring cost here, that is coming to around 2,840. And the selling cost, you see here, 150 rupees per packet for prawn pickle. Even fish pickle you can sell at the same price. So these are the selling prices I have mentioned. Like we are selling at the same prices. It's all up to you. In the beginning, you may have to keep it, at the less price, less profit margin. Here I have kept the price, and when we calculate based on these prices, so we are getting selling cost of 6,600 rupees. So you remove this 2,840, that is your uh, investment for raw material. So still you are getting, almost double the profit. So you will be definitely having 50% profit margin. Altogether, I have calculated for 25 days and 1 year. So altogether at the end, if you see, if you are going to bank also for the loan and all, I have calculated roughly interest on capital cost, interest on recurring cost, and depreciation cost. You are buying some equipment. So altogether, you take this fixed cost as 1,07,780. When we calculate the net profit, our revenue minus all the investment, at the end you could able to get around 4 lakh rupees of profit. So this is per year. This is rough calculation. We can work out on this depending on our, and it keeps on varying because your fish price will not remain the same. It varies based on the availability of fish. If more the fish, the cost will be less. If you uh, if you do bulk buying, definitely the cost of raw material will be less. So all these factors, if you include into that, then definitely these figures will change. But roughly, this is the figure, and I feel that there is definitely a profit in this business. So you should come forward. So these are my conclusions from today's presentation, that promoting consumption of fish in the form of different ready-to-eat value-added products, it will definitely help in increasing the per capita consumption of fish. Then for this to do, we have to give the training to the stakeholders or those who are interested in taking such technologies into the market. Yes, training is very, very important, and marketing is a big challenge, let me tell you, because such products are not available in the market. People are not aware about this type of fish products. So marketing should be done in a professional way, through proper advertising and with the different promotional schemes also. So these are some of the like messages that you can take away from today's presentation. Before ending, and with the permission of Manekar sir and Sapre sir, I would like to highlight two more technologies that we have developed with the help of RGSTC. One is salt fermented Indian mackerel. तुम्हाला बांगडा सर्वांना माहित असेल. हे बांगडा आपल्या इकडे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये कॉमनली अवेलेबल आहे आणि हा लो कॉस्ट आहे. तर ही फर्मेंटेशनची टेक्नॉलॉजी, द टेक्नॉलॉजी ऑफ फर्मेंटेशन इज व्हेरी ट्रॅडिशनल, कॉमन, एव्हरीवन नोज, बट द फर्मेंटेड प्रोडक्ट्स they have got a very good acceptability in northeast areas of our country, especially right from West Bengal, Tripura, Assam, Manipur, all those northeast, tremendous market for such products. There one product is very famous, that is called Lona Ilish, that is made from Hilisha. It is a fermented product. So there the problem is the cost of raw material is very high. That leads to the higher cost of the final product. And another issue is the fermentation process itself takes 4 to 6 months. So what we have done here, we have used some bacterial consortium. Okay, we have developed a consortium which has reduced the time of fermentation from 4 to 6 months to only 3 months, and without any compromise in the quality. And also we have used the mackerel. So this product, uh, we have done the acceptability trials. We have also uh, tried to sell this product in the market, and you know what price we are getting? 500 rupees per kg. So this is another very good technology that is available with us. If anybody is interested, please feel free to contact. There is one more technology that is developed with the help of Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Project. That is cool fish. It is solar based cooler. You know, in our fish market, our fishermen, they are sitting in an open area. There is no shade, no cover. Their fish is open, so all kind of flies and all coming. There is no proper icing to the fish and all. But this solar-based cooler, it will help in providing not only shelter in the form of solar panels, but they can also keep their product safely in a cooler here, which can achieve the temperature of 0 to 2 degrees centigrade. That is sufficient for keeping the fish in a good quality for some time. So this refrigerator we have developed. Its capacity is 50 kg, and it looks like this. You see this here. The fisherwoman can sit here with a chair, and they can cut the fish. This is all stainless steel. Okay, so that is recommended for food processing. And this is a cooler. With the help of this solar energy, there is no need of electricity and all. Installed coolers with the panels, then cooler, the frame itself, it's a little bit costly. But what I feel that is required. So all together, the cost of this unit going to almost. This is another very good technology that we have developed. Their friends are into the engineering line. They can come forward for this also. And before closing, I will just talk, sir, for 5 more minutes. This is very important for those who are listening to me. If you are interested in any one of this technology, you can approach us. You can join our agribusiness incubation center. Here we are nominal fees as an incubating for 1 year. During that studying, charges you have to pay for that. But you can use all our high-end facility, and you can produce the product, sell into the market. You stay with us for 1 year. You can check the quality of your product. You become confident. Till you become confident, we can do hand holding. And once you graduate, you can start your own setup. So that is one last thing I want to tell you. We have started this incubation in 2017. We have quite a good incubators now with us. So this is, sir, as I was telling in the beginning, this is the place where this, with the help of CSR unit of Jindal, we are coming to, we are establishing the small pilot plan in Borje village of Pen. We actually started the process long back, but finally now we can see that it is coming out into reality, and soon we will see a pilot plant in this place for value-added fish products. So these are some of the exhibitions, and this is how we do training in our lab. So finally, this is the way forward. What I feel that we have the technology. You come forward, we will help you, and we will see that the technologies will be coming into the market in future. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is my contact details. Please take down. You can call me, you can mail me, or you can contact me through Manjari madam, or even through RGSTC. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Whichever way you feel is suitable.
Thank you, Dr. Balange. That was a very exhaustive presentation.
Yeah.
We are already short of time, so we will not be taking more questions. But
Okay.
there are
Okay.
a few questions which have been put up, which you can probably answer. One is who are manufacturing the processing machines? That is one question. The other question is how much quantity of fish per day can be processed? One more question is from Mr. Neeraj Gaikwad. How can a person who is not from fishery background enter in the business? I think you have already answered this question by saying that you are providing incubation
Yeah.
facility to a new entrant. So this question is already answered. And what is the shelf life of the products which are being manufactured? That is another question.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, so you can briefly answer these two, three questions,
Yeah.
and we will wind up after that.
Yeah.
I have a message for all the participants once you finish answering these questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I will answer your first question. That is, who manufactures these processing machineries? So, like deboning machine, what I have shown you, that is imported actually. It is very costly, almost 25 lakh rupees, and its capacity is like in an hour you can use 100 kg raw material in an hour. But now most of the processing machineries that is required to do this business, whatever I have shown, that is being manufactured in India itself. If you are interested, you come to us. We will provide you all the detailed information, right from the manufacturer. And somebody asked a question about how much fish we can process per day. So it's all up to you. Like what I have shown the economics, it is only for processing 10 kg fish and 10 kg prawn in the beginning every day. If you see that your business is flourishing, you are getting good response in the market, then that 10 kg can go to 100 kg, even 1 ton. You know, there are processing industries, they are processing almost 100 ton of raw material every day. So upscaling is absolutely not an issue. You have to start, you have to begin it. Then definitely you can go for upscaling. And the question about shelf life, yes, every product has got a shelf life. Like what I have shown you, prawn pickle, you can keep it for 6 months. Whatever retort product or canned product, it has got more than 1 year shelf life. And all the snacks product that I have shown you, like fish cutlet, fish chutney, shave, and all dried form of products, they can be stored in a high density polythene pack, moisture free environment for at least 2 to 3 months. It can be stored. Okay, so every product has got its shelf life, and other products like cutlet, vada, these all are ready to serve. Okay, but of course the raw material for that you can keep it in deep freezer for almost 15 to 20 days, no problem. So these are some of the questions that I think I have answered almost all. And if there is anything, I have given my contact and all details. You can contact me anytime.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Balange. A message for everybody. You can obviously contact Dr. Balange if you want directly, but you can route the queries to Maratha Chamber of Commerce as well. What we plan to do, those who are really interested in pursuing this technology or want to set up a business in this, you may please write to us or connect with us through the chamber, and we will also we will arrange for a second meeting with you with Dr. Balange. Given his convenience, we'll arrange for another Zoom call for you to join us for the second session. You may find it useful to fill in this information which you can see on your screens, so that if you are interested, we will get in touch with you and arrange for the second meeting. With this, I would like to thank Dr. Arun Sapre, Mr. Anil Manikar, Dr. Amjad Balange, for your time, for coming to us and interacting with our members. We are looking at serious entrepreneurs who want to establish something new, and we at the chamber look forward to help you in your new endeavor, in your new enterprise, so that we will, during these tough times, these are different opportunities available to all of us. So thank you, dear all the participants. Please fill in your feedback before we conclude the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Balanke.
I would like to thank you all,
Entire
sir.
team at MCCI. Thank you so much. And of
I,
course,
I I
thank you all
also
the
would like to
participants.
yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Manekar, sir. Thank you, Sapre, sir. It is
Thank you.
because of Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission that we could able to develop such a good technology which are low cost and which are having direct applicability to the society. So it's all up to you now. So please come forward and make use of these technologies. Once again, sir, thank you.
We should
Thank
not
you
leave
very
it at
much.
the half level. I think we should continue to pursue and then see that people adopt it.
We are requesting all the participants. There are 7 people who have filled in the feedback form. Request all of you to fill in so that we can conclude the session. We are also seeing there are some consultants who have joined us. If it interests you to help entrepreneurs to set up this kind of business, please get in touch with us, because this is a business opportunity for you as well as an opportunity for people who want to start this as a new business.
That's right. Good. I think it was a good beginning. I think we should continue to pursue this.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.